All right. Hey, everybody. How the heck are you? It's a fantastic day today. It's actually raining where I'm at here in Southern Colorado. How come you always get sunshine out there, Jay? How are you doing?
Well, I got this whole relationship with the weather gods, right? So I'm like, just quit messing with me today. I got a Zoom going on my buddy Rex, so leave me alone for a minute, right? So sunshine.
I mean, send me the secrets, man. I'm ready to go. That's
I
it's
got you.
I've got this weird background today where it's like part spaceship, part interdimensional, part fifth dimensional. I don't know what it is, but it's still pretty cool. And one of the things that I really like about you, Jay, is I was watching your videos earlier on Instagram, and I love your passion. I love your enthusiasm and your optimism. I think that your optimism is better than just about anybody I've ever met. And you don't judge people either. Somebody tells you something way out of the blue, and you're just like, okay, that's cool. I like that. So what do you think about that? And people are like, oh, he listened to me. This is amazing. So I appreciate that. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about why you actually got to do something about it, why you should get off the couch, get out of your house, or get on your computer and start changing the world, because it's all about us. It's all about starting somewhere. And I don't know if you saw the news a few days ago. John Bon Jovi had talked somebody down from jumping off of a bridge.
Yeah,
And I thought, wow, that's pretty
I did
cool.
see that. Yeah,
I did that a few weeks ago.
yeah.
I was riding my bike in Durango. I'm on mile marker 17. I'm on the Animas River Trail. I'm hauling ass. I am flying and pedaling away, pedaling away. I look up at this bridge and I see this pretty big dude. He looks like he probably weighs about 300 pounds. He's sitting on the bridge. He's sitting on the rail of the bridge. And I'm like, is that guy going to jump? And I'm processing things in my head here for a minute. And I'm like, okay. And then I go past a group of people off the trail, and they're all just kind of like staring at me. And I'm like, oh, this guy is getting ready to jump. They're all watching him. They're not doing anything about it. What are they going to do? Get out their phones and start recording him? And so I just literally, I don't care. I'm not going to let this guy jump off the bridge. I ride my bike up to him. There's only one other guy there. Gentleman's trying to talk to him. And I get off the bike. I walk up to him, like, hey, man, what's going on? And he's crying. I can't really see his face because he's kind of, and the other guy goes, did somebody break your heart? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, was it a girl? And he goes, yeah. And I was just like, so I started patting him on the back. And I was like, hey, come on, man. Come on back. Come on, Dave. Guy weighs probably 300 pounds. And he just, okay. He doesn't, he's like, all right, he's going to catch me. I'm about 50 with like soaking wet, man. I caught him as best as I could. I certainly broke his fall, because if he would have just leaned back the way that he did, nobody would have caught him. He would have landed right on his head on the concrete. So he comes back. Then he's kind of cuddled up, laying on the ground, and he's still crying. And I'm just rubbing his shoulder. I'm like, it's gonna be okay, brother. It's gonna be okay, brother. It's gonna be okay. And the other gentleman goes, how old are you? And he goes, 27. And the first thing I thought of was the 27 Club. How many people at that, like in the entertainment industry, get to the age of 27, they're at the peak of their career, and something happens. And anyway, to make a long story short, the other guy goes, what can we do for you? And the guy goes, I want to talk. And I'm like, okay, let's talk, man. Let's talk. And so we talked to him for a few minutes. We get him up off the ground. I said, what's your name? He tells me his name. Now, I'm not going to say his name on here because obvious reasons. I want him to be able to have his privacy. And I was actually thinking for a few weeks, should I even say anything about this publicly? I talked to my friend Jacob Israel about it, and he's like, dude, you need to say something about this. And then I saw the news with John Bon Jovi a few days ago, and I'm like, you know what? I think it is important to talk about this, because, man, if everyone would have just stared at him, taking photos of him, oh, I'm going to put this on Facebook. Oh, yeah. It would have been horrible. Who knows? He had somebody on the phone. So when we get him back up, he tells me his name. And I said, you know what? With a name like that, anybody can get through this. He kind of smiled a little bit. He grabs his cell phone that's on like a concrete. It was like it was on the other side of the sidewalk. And actually, I don't think it was concrete. Maybe it was. It was on the other side of the sidewalk. He had his cell phone sitting there with a speaker on. He grabs his cell phone, and I could hear somebody listening on the phone. He was getting ready to jump off the bridge with somebody listening on his phone.
Oh man, that's insane.
It is insane.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so we get him to calm down. We listen to him for a few minutes. The Rango police show up. Very nice, very cool. They're like, "Hey, man, you okay?" And I just said, "Look," I said, "be kind to him." And they said, "We're gonna take you, get you some help." And he goes, "I don't have Medicare." And they said, "Hey, we don't care. We're gonna help you out." And anyway, I just said, "Hey, brother," I said, "You're gonna be okay, man. It's gonna be all right." Gave him a hug, pat him on the shoulder, and got on my bike. The other guy got on his bike. We rode off. He goes, the older guy that was talking to him before I got there, he goes, "Thanks for not jumping." He said, "My nephew jumped a couple years ago off a bridge." So, man, it was like, you know what? And uh, it's like at those moments, you see the hair stand up on my arm.
yeah.
It's at those moments you got to do something about it. You can't just, you got to do something about it, folks. And it seems like we're in a world today where so many people are the analysis paralysis by analysis.
Yeah, 100%.
We got to be the change.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I just thought that was, a pretty cool
Well, it
testimony
just
that I want to share with you. And every
yeah,
time I bring it up, man, I get emotional because it was.
and it's good, because that's one of the reasons we talk to people about like we did this last week or so about having your own show is it's so therapeutic. I mean, there's so much therapy involved in getting to speak it out and releasing it out. I mean, it makes you feel good, like you said. Hey, look at my, on my arms and everything, and you know, we need that in life, everybody. We need an outlet. And that outlet is not always the gym or the thing. You need to sometimes be able to talk it out. You know what I mean? And not talking out just maybe even like just like kind of like what everybody witnessed you do or whatever, how we do. It is so healthy because what happens is it unlocks a different essence of our spirit, if you would. So there's the physical side of it. If you got to get rid of some stress or whatever, or got to think about that, you can, let's say, work it out or punch it out. But then talking it out it gives you a very clean perspective and gets you to now start to realize, were you overreacting? That felt good. But once it's done, it's gone. That's all I'm saying is it's gone because we tend to store all this stuff out here or in here, if you would, and you got to release it, or else the alternative is I mean, I'm not being funny here, but this is why people are sometimes on the verge of wanting to jump, because they don't have releases, they don't have emotional support, they don't have ways to do this, and it's just we talk a lot about financial health, but of course there's a mental health that goes along with this too, and there's a man, thanks for sharing that because people can start to realize that you know you did something and it's interesting when you reference like Bon Jovi, he did that, and it just goes to show you how much, like we've been talking about, how much we are intertwined. We start, whether we kind of personally know each other at what level or not, consciousness is a real thing, everybody. This stuff's merging. We're going to start to pick up on something where something happened to somebody, and all of a sudden that similar experience is going to show up for us because we're consciously vibrating at that level all of a sudden. Now those vibrations start to match. This is a real thing. It happens often. You just got, like said with Bon Jovi, that experience similarly happened to you because, that happens more and more. So you need to understand what I'm saying is that when these experiences do start to happen, it's good to have an outlet like a show or to have some vehicle like this to talk it out. Like, what the hell happened? Why did I experience in that? You know what I mean? Like, why did I have that situation? You gotta do it, or else it just kind of it throws you off. We're by infinite design, I believe, Rex, that we're supposed to share it out there because that, and only then can we be of value to others and say, look, we had this experience. Now imagine how many people just watching this, how many tens of thousands of people watching you is going to say like, wow, I had something kind of like that happen. And now it helps them connect the dots. You see how healing this is, how it all works?
It's beautiful, man. And also, I was going to mention, thank you, Shondell, for sending me the link to the Bon Jovi article because I had talked to Shondell about it a few weeks ago, and he's always up on the news. And yeah, he sent me that link. He said, "Oh, does this sound familiar?" I was like, "Whoa, how cool is that, Bon Jovi? Wow!" But you know what? The mindset thing, you're so right because when that happened, it was such a powerful experience and such an amazing experience. And then I kind of like I thought to myself, what about people out there that are doing this every day, like at the front lines, like ER doctors or firefighters or good policemen and women that are actually saving people's lives on a daily basis. And then I thought to myself, okay, this is like after I did that, it was kind of like a I don't know, man. It was such an endorphin rush. And then the week before that, I was riding the trail and I went across the bridge and I posted this on Facebook. I went across the bridge and I saw a groundhog. And a groundhog like ran across the bridge with me. And then it stopped halfway and it got scared and it stuck its head under the rail. And I'm like, oh, am I going to have to help this groundhog out? Is it stuck under the rail? And it got out and then it turned back around and went away. And I posted about that. I was like, how symbolic is that, right? And then the week later, that thing happened with the bridge. And then I talked to my friend Jacob about it, and he said, you know what? I've been having weird stuff happen with bridges lately. And we started sharing some experiences. And then since then, I went out and I hiked like a week after or something. My son and I hiked Pagosa Peak, and we ended up taking this wrong turn up in this boulder field. I thought we were supposed to go right instead of left. So we went right and we kind of got in this boulder field, which is kind of dangerous if you're not careful. I mean, if you're careful and you're really watching every step. But anyway, I look down and I see this like red tent. And I'm like, what is that? Is that a tent or is that a parachute? That doesn't look like it's in. So we went down and checked it out. And it was somebody's camping gear in the middle of the freaking boulder field. How creepy is that? Like we find this there's like a tent and a sleeping bag and a duffel bag and some pants and a like a bowl, and it looked like something that just ripped it all to shreds. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of spooky. I'm like, I'm gonna post this on a message board and see what's going on. And so I posted on the message board. I got a hold of the sheriffs. Sheriffs get a hold of me the next day. They're like, we're gonna go check it out. I gave them the location. And I haven't heard back from them, so I'm sure they found it, or most likely they found it. But it's just like those little things that, you could be the person that you might walk past something like that and be like, oh, okay, no big deal. Or maybe you just don't want to say anything about it because you don't want to get involved. Or say something about it. Try and solve it. What is it? What's going on? And then after that, then somebody crashes their motorcycle yesterday down the street from my house. I'm like, oh, I got to help this guy get out of the 10-foot ravine here. So I pushed some guy and his motorcycle out back on the highway. And then yesterday, I noticed on the message board, somebody had lost their dog and they needed a drone. And so I'm like, hey, I got a drone. So I spent all day yesterday looking for a lost dog in the woods. And it's just like, it's a mindset. And it's just that little switch. And once you switch that on, the universe is like, okay, well, what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about that?
Now, when you start to realize that, how again, I mean, I hear a lot of stuff, and over 3,000 interviews later, it's like I feel like pretty much it's a lot of stuff, and but I do really seem to reconcile with the fact that I believe we're amongst different species and different. Maybe we all look similar as far as our embodiment, if you would. Like I guess we all look humans, if you would, but I think there's other people that are actually tapped into different streams of consciousness. I really do. And like I'll give you an example. We were talking about it off air. There's homeless people right around there, and you won't go to give them something, and they don't accept it because they're like, no, I got my own debit card, but they're home, but in their mind, they're living how they live. And it's starting to become more and more and more of that. So, I think for me, it's been at a personal level, I could share with you, is that for me, it's been a course of action as far as I grow through this, is to understand the real possibility that, what, we may all look kind of similar as far as our genetics, if you would, but or our structures, but we very well could be different beings. You know what I mean? Like how there's different versions of aliens, if you would. Maybe there's just different versions of humans, I guess, that are experiencing totally different things. And and I think it what I'm experiencing from a level of manifestation is by acknowledging that and seeing these people at a different thing and understanding that they have to have a different stream of consciousness that's unique to them, and not to really judge it. Then I start to see more and more show up for me. I start to see more manifestations. I start to see more of the things I'm thinking about, more of my desires, if you want, or things, because it feels like I'm working on, like, I feel like for me it's like being on the right track of cracking the code, or staying in that realm, if you would, right? So I think it's important, and it's not easy. Look, I'll be the first to tell you, you said earlier, I'm like, I like how I am, and that's a learned behavior. I got to be honest with you, because we're always very initially reactive, like growing up, like, oh, look at that one, look at that one over there. You know what I mean? It's just our infinite design. But I started to realize that when I started to grow and realize that, look, I don't know what these goes on these people's head. I don't know what just happened in their day. I don't know why they do what they do. It could have been the most messed up thing. So, maybe someone missed an appointment with me. Am I going to be upset about they missed an appointment, or did something really bad happen that they missed an appointment? I don't know. And I can't, and I learned not to do those. And when I learned not to react to situations, long story short about this, my manifestations appear. They really do. Because it's almost like, for me, it's an embodiment of acknowledging the divinity within each other, right? So, like, I'm acknowledging that divine in that person and realizing that I'm part of that. And so if something went awry in their day, or not good, whatever, then even if I can send them a little bit of love, or just like give them a little bit of peace by not putting any unnecessary pressure or guilt or anything else that they need on their life, and just let them be. And then, it circles back around. So I think it's good. It's been very mentally healthy for me, Rex. It really has. It's been very mentally healthy to operate this way. I don't have to. It's very freeing. It really is. And as I start to see it, it's very freeing not to worry about what everybody else has got going on. I mean, it's like, it's the best. I got to tell you. So for me, it's like, I love it. I love it. I love it. I enjoy the experience of watching people. I enjoy the experience of what they possibly could be experiencing. And I suggest people do kind of try it out and look at it with no judgment, because you'll start to see the side effect of it is going to be when you start to do that. Because here's what blocks manifestation is: when you think about things, but then you get worried about what the whole other segment of the population's doing, or a whole other group of people are doing, right? So you start to think about those things, and it takes you off your vibrational game to be able to manifest what you want. Think in terms of, like, let it all be, and then just let everything be about you, and you start to see the things come into you a lot faster that way.
So for manifestation, like, that's one of your key, like, that's something you're really good at. And folks,
Yeah,
if you haven't seen Jay and I talk before, Jay has had very successful businesses in finance as well as insurance companies. And now he's doing what he loves to do, very successful with Gnostic TV. And he has other platforms as well. But Gnostic TV is a really cool channel that has different podcasts, video podcasts on ways to manifest and what you might consider modern magic, and many topics. But what I really like is just the way you and I talk off the air. So folks, I met Jay a few months ago, and like, we've had it's almost like we're lost brothers. Great relationship.
right. Yeah, awesome.
And I think we kind of, like, stuff that he is just super awesome at, I'm still learning. So I'm learning a lot from him. And together with our knowledge base and what we're both good at, we make a great team. But we've actually been helping some people put together podcasts. And there's a couple of people in particular right now that I'm thinking of. I'm not going to say their names because I haven't asked them yet. And I'm sure they won't mind. They'll probably end up coming on our shows. But it's a brother and sister. And this is so cool, because they're going to do a podcast on, like, not just sports, but because the one gentleman's an umpire, and he's a really good ref. So he's going to talk about controversial calls and stuff like that. But his sister, amazing lady, she's retired now, I think, but she was a special education teacher in a pretty tough part of town. Like, you got to be tough. You know what I mean? So, and she's an amazing lady. So she's going to have a different perspective versus her brother, which lives in a resort town of all Caucasians, basically. Let's just say that. So it's going to be a real cool conversation between the two of them, and they're going to offer a really unique perspective to the world today. And I think it's really cool. Just as an example, like, you look at the news push, Black Lives Matters. And if you're not used to that environment, if you grew up in a place like Park City, like I did, or a place that doesn't have a similar environment, you might say, "Well, hey, man, all lives matter. What's up with that?" But I get it more now. after talking to them and explaining certain places in the world where people really are suppressed, but the media will come out and show the most intense clips to get the views. So they're not really showing the homegrown side of things as much. They're showing the extreme, if that makes sense. And that's just my own opinion. But I think that they're going to do a great job bringing the world together from different points of view, completely different points of view, and their family, so they can talk about it. So that's just one really cool opportunity that we're going to see here in the near future. And Jay and I have been helping them give some of the tools that they need to put this together. So stay tuned on that, folks.
Yeah, it's so much fun to watch people just get their, their voice out there. It's cool. It's cool because we all have these very unique experiences, whether you agree with them or not. They're just experiences, right? But it's all for us to go through and get through. And there's always someone out there that's going to be aligned with your experience. And when you start to share it, it'll get you more comfortable because again, I start, kind of getting back. I personally believe my experience is showing us that we're supposed to enjoy these things. We're supposed to really, embody them so we know what it's like. But then we're also supposed to be a voice for other people to help them along the way. I mean, this is like an octopus, the spider web, whatever you want to call it, but it's a lot of tentacles going on here. You know what I mean? So we're all helping each other along the way. And so, when these people like you're talking about, the brother and sister that are doing a show, I mean, how cool is that really? Because how many brothers and sisters, I mean, I won't do it. You know what I mean? But it's like, you know what I'm saying? How many people you want to do a show like that? But you see what I'm saying? It's like they're looking at it from the perspective of like, this is good. We disagree. But we could get in a groove together. And it's like, what was the common thing in there was after you sort through all that, it was a commitment that I gathered out of it, Rex, when I was listening to them, was just a commitment to stay together as a unity, as a bond, and say, you know what, we disagree on stuff, but this will keep us together still in some weird way. You know what I mean? So that was really nice. It was very beautiful to witness that. I know like my wife and I do shows, and I tell you, one of the first things we always tell, we've been married for 20 years now, it's couples therapy, man. It really is. I'm not even being funny. It's very therapeutic for us as a married couple to get on the show and do a show together because and obviously the show's not always about our stuff. It's interviewing somebody, but because we're in a different vibrational essence, if you would, we're in tune with somebody else's conversation, whatever was the funk that was with us that day, after that show's over, it's always gone all the time. It vibrates off you like little gnats. So we don't hold on to that. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things. I'm a big proponent of if you're in a relationship, I tell you, like having a show, like who is this for, right? Like people say, well, who is it for? Why would a relationship, right? I mean, if you're not, then you're not. That's your thing, right? But if you want to go through it, I mean, when you're in a relationship, it's very helpful because a lot of times, let's be real, it's like people have you know, the one person goes to work, the other person goes to work, and it's like, good morning, I'll see you 8 hours later, maybe an hour or two later. And then, there's always, you never really experience, and no matter what the wins are with that other person, your spouse or your other person during the day, you'll never understand it because you didn't go through it. You see what I mean? So who is this for? Maybe couples, families, whatever that want to go through, experience something together. They want to strengthen their bond. You know what I mean?
I was also going to say, I think that anybody that has a passion,
yeah,
you can turn that passion into an amazing podcast. And,
yeah,
like just yesterday, I went out looking for that poor dog, man. She's an 8-year-old lab mix. She's in the mountains somewhere. I spent most of the day looking for her, and there's been several other people out there looking for her. And like if you got a podcast, you upload it on the podcast. Let's say you get 10,000 people that see that video. There might be 10 people out of that 10,000 that have a way to find her. So it just kind of gets that thing going. I didn't find her yet, but I still have faith that she went. So there was a car accident where this car goes off of a road in the mountains. Like we're talking 45-degree angle here. And the lady's very lucky to be alive. She still has one of her dogs. The other dog ended up taking off. And that's who we've been trying to find. Paisley is the dog's name. And so, yeah, I'm very lucky to be alive. But if you like adventures, do you like cooking? Do you like I met a guy the other day that has a moving company. He works for a moving company and he just started doing his own thing. And he's so passionate about it. I've never met a mover like so passionate and cool about it. I said, dude, why don't you do podcasts? He's like, actually, I did, but I didn't know how to do this, this, and this. I said, I'll help you.
You
So
know,
yeah, I love helping people with this kind of
it's
stuff.
the
This is
best.
my
It's the
passion.
best. And you make money at this stuff. And that's the other thing too. Like if you want to make money, I mean, I meet a lot of these people. There's a couple I know, they have a really big YouTube channel and all they do is they talk about travel experiences they had and they are making a fortune and off of advertisers, off of YouTube. I mean, like that. And all they're doing is they're talking about their passion. They live well, they're always happy. Listen, I'm not saying money is the most important thing, but it's definitely in the top three, right? So let's all be real about that. It helps make the other stuff just not so, magnified, let's call it. You know what I mean? So just put it in perspective for what it's for. But yeah, having the show, helping people like that, you're helping them get the therapy thing going, you're helping them build a community of like-minded people. That's really special because what happens is when you speak, imagine you right now feeling like you're kind of, I don't want to say alone, but you don't not all you feel disconnected from someone, and you start like a podcast or a show. Next thing you know, you got 1,000 people that are like, hey, I love your vibe, I love your vibe, in their community, they're messaging you, they're giving you thing. Your whole physiology, your psychology, your whole essence, your spirit, everything about you changes. You now have literally effectively, whether you know it or not, have got to hit the reset button of playing this game of life again, because the community's there to support you. They cocoon you, right? And they're like, oh, I've been waiting for you. Whether they know they've been waiting for you or not, we're all waiting for each other's voices to find out who we are and what it is. But you get that kind of surrounding, that is the best feeling in the world. It's the best drug, if you want to call it, because you're surrounded by so many people that really understand you at a level that many people couldn't. You couldn't talk about. I don't really talk about what I do too much where I live, right? You know what I mean? Because it's a different conversation. You know what I mean? But but less people ask. But I will tell you though, when I'm here, in these kind of environments, it's beautiful. And then you find the people that are like they have these crazy conversations about something, and they just all make sense. You know what I mean? It makes sense to the ones that are supposed to be there. So that's pretty awesome, guys. And I just encourage people to really continually. We're gonna. I know you and I talked about it. Continually message this out um, to help people. You know what I mean? Because it's like I know you both of us have a desire to. We've been blessed with what we do, but there's also that responsibility of really helping what we know, which is to do what we do, if that's on your radar, and also financially, while you're in your years that you can enjoy all of this, financially be able to reap the rewards out of this. You don't need a degree, you don't need an education. You need love and a desire and an imagination and instruction. That's what we're here to help with.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so I did want to let you know, folks, that we are going to have a webinar coming up here soon that we're going to share some ideas with everybody. It's a free webinar that's coming up. So it is going to be on October. We have this October 3rd. Was that right?
Yep, October 3rd. Yep,
Thursday, October 3rd.
Yep, Mountain Time.
5 o'clock, no, 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 7 o'clock Central. And yeah, hope to see you there, folks. And also wanted to let you know that if you are interested in doing a podcast and you're like pretty much ready to go, you've got the outline or you need help with the outline, Jay and myself have a couple of different options to help people out with. Some people may want to go through like a 4-week course or a longer course, and we're helping people out that way. But we're also doing 2 days. It's going to be a live webinar. You can ask all the questions you want. And Jay, you want to share anything for
just I would say email you, because your email's in the description for those of you that are interested parties. And this webinar we're going to be doing is so the email Rex for like, hey, email broadcast, because this is for us to talk to you about what you want to do with the show, and make sure we put you in the right training program based on where you're at, right? Because it's not a one size fits all. But the webinar we're going to be doing is very cool, because Rex and I are going to be talking exactly how we make our money and the things that we use to make our money. So we're going to be sharing that information, which a lot of you won't know that. So you don't want to miss that one. That is going to be for free. Just come in, just to at least get an idea of like, how do these people do it? How are they living? How they're living? How they doing? How we're doing? And we're not doing this to impress you, but to impress upon you what's available. And that's really what our mission is here, to show you what is available So, if you're not where you're at and you want to, let us help you, because it's a desire for us. We want to do this. We all got each other, and we understand that. So that's what I would say. I would say, brother, I love you, and thanks for always having me on to, share this with you. Appreciate joining this journey with you.
Right on, brother. Love you too, man, and keep being the change you want to see. Thanks, everybody.
What are you sending? You know you've been cutting, you know I'm ascending. I'm one if I'm winning. I'm one if I'm winning. Go take a look at the pen that I'm making my money like it's never ending. I took all my losses, I roll with the bosses, I know what it costs and I'm so independent. Go take a look at the pen that I'm making my money like